If you want to live a bankless life, you need to get a hardware wallet. There is no alternative for storing your crypto in a self-sovereign fashion. That's why I have 4 ledgers that I use to manage my different crypto assets, using the Ledger Live account as well. Ledger Live is like your home base for managing your Ethereum, DeFi, and crypto accounts. It does a really good job of aggregating all of your different Ethereum wallets if you are the type of person that uses more than one, but you can also add other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Cosmos or whatever your preferred blockchain is. And then it will display an aggregate portfolio of all your accounts at the main page. One thing that Ledger is doing a really good job of is enabling all of the money verbs that me and Ryan talk about with the Bankless Skill Cube enabled in the Ledger Live app. So right now in the Ledger Live app, you can buy, sell, lend, swap, and stake your crypto assets, which is doing a really good job of fulfilling all of the money verbs in the Bankless Skill Cube. Something that's new to Ledger Live is Ledger Swap, where you can swap assets one for another directly inside the Ledger Live application, ensuring trustlessness in your financial activity on Ethereum and on Bitcoin. If you want to learn more about what you can do with a ledger, go to the blog post, The Power of Ledger Live, on the Ledger website, where they share some of the more advanced things that you can do with your ledger that you might not have known about. There's a link in the show notes that will take you to the Ledger shop where you can get your preferred Ledger hardware wallets. I personally like the Ledger Nano X, but I also have both. So they're both great options. When you own a ledger, you own your own assets in the way that they have been designed to be held by the user and the user alone. So go get your ledger today to make sure that you are as self-sovereign as possible. The Bankless State of the Nations are brought to you by YEARN. YEARN is DeFi's first self-building community-run project, which I just get really, really excited about. YEARN is a system that seeks out yield in DeFi, and it does that in a number of different ways. A very aggressive way is with the vaults, where you can deposit your preferred asset of choice, and different DeFi experts will come in and generate a strategy for what to do with your deposited token, right? And so it'll go find ways to get yield in that deposited token in DeFi. For those who want to just earn yield on their stablecoins, the Earn system is for you, where you can deposit your preferred stablecoin and YEARN will go and figure out which money market on DeFi and DeFi is producing the best interest rate, whether it's DYTX, it's Compound, or Aave. It looks around DeFi to see where the yield is coming from, and it directs stablecoins automatically so you don't have to. Check them out at yearn.finance to get started, and also check out the stats page to see what other people are doing as well.
Welcome, Bankless Nation. This is a special episode that we're bringing to you on YouTube. We are bringing to you on the podcast. This is Alpha Leak. David, we only do Alpha Leaks when something alpha happens, when we know that there is something that you want to know about and you need to react to quickly, a major type of event. What is this Alpha Leak today?
Man, the Alpha Leak that we are talking about today is something that I think we've seen coming a long way off, but that doesn't change how big of a deal it is today. Alpha Leaks are when we just need to drop everything and get into the content production mode to talk about this, what's going on. And what is going on is the Ethereum 2.0 Phase 0 deposit contract has been announced. Starting on December 1st is December 1st could be the day that Phase 0 goes live. So there's a lot of conversations to be had about how to prepare for this. We all want to be a part of the group that helps Ethereum 2.0 get off the ground. And so this podcast episode, this YouTube video, depending on where you're watching it, is going to help you understand what the hell is going on with the deposit contract with Phase 0 and how you can help grow Ethereum 2.0 starting on December 1st. It could be as soon as December 1st.
Absolutely. We want you to be able to find the alpha in the midst of all this. So we're doing 2 things. First, we're going to give you kind of an overview of what is happening, what just went on, the significance of it, how to stake, how can you stake from your home, what are the risks, what are the rewards, all of those details as part of this Alpha Leak episode as well. So with that, David, we should just get right into it. Man, it was like, I was having kind of a rough day, you know, not knowing who the president is and everything else. Like this morning when I woke up, uncertainty. It's something that you talked about on Monday's post on Bankless that, hey, like this election could go one way or the other, but the worst outcome is uncertainty. And we got the worst outcome, didn't we? And then I got a very cheering message from someone I saw on Twitter that the ETH2 staking contract has been announced. So the ETH2 staking contract has actually gone live, more than been announced, gone live with a specific block time. And we'll get into what that means. But high level, this is what we've talked about for a long time, Dave. This is Ethereum's initial bond offering. So think of this. Ethereum right now is the largest non-sovereign global economy, a decentralized economy that the world has ever seen. And they're getting ready to issue a bond. That's how I see it. We talked so many times before, David, about the triple point asset. Ether being a triple point asset, like you can use it as a commodity, pay for gas. You can use it as money, as a store of value of collateral in DeFi. Well, this is that third point, right? This is using Ether as a capital asset to actually generate returns for you. And it's finally going live. I feel like I've been here like waiting forever, but it's finally happening. So yeah, where were you? What was your take when you heard this news?
Yeah, it happened this morning, except it started to happen yesterday, and a lot of people that really pay attention to the intricate details of Ethereum started to figure this out. And people noticed this by the depositcontract.eth ENS address getting deployed to an address that had a bunch of zeros. And there is significance to an address that has a bunch of zeros because those aren't easy to find, right? And so there was a lot of some behind the scenes, like what's going on here, like depositcontract.eth, that's a real thing. And then the next day, the day after election day, which is the craziest time to announce the launch of phase 0, we get an official announcement from the ethereum.org site, a new website on ethereum.org that shows you how to be a validator on ETH2. So all of these things happen at once, which is—
Wait, did you predict this though? I feel like a few episodes ago, you were just calling a date.
I came pretty close. I predicted a week and a half ago that this last Monday, a date would be announced. And it happened on Wednesday morning. So I was off by 2 days. Not too bad.
That is super close. That is not too bad. So what's been the reaction in crypto Twitter? Can you talk about it? So like I put tweets out. I feel like you put tweets out. The entire community is celebrating this. This is Spencer Noon. He had to take like, this is a big deal, I think is basically the summary of what he's saying here. It was enough to get Eric Connor back on Twitter.
Eric Connor's out of bed. Like, welcome back, Eric Connor, to Twitter. We'll see how long he stays here. I'm not sure he's in the mood to stay for the whole bull run.
I probably thought it was just 2.0.
I'm glad Eric Connor's back to help lead us into Ethereum 2.0. He's a great community manager. If that's what he's here to do, then absolutely. So and you know, your question about how did Twitter react to this? It was mixed, and that, you know, and it's a little bit frustrating because there's a bunch of, you know, very deep core Ethereum people that have been paying attention to this for a while. And to these people like you and me, Ryan, like, you know, at some point, this is just not a surprise. Like, we knew this was coming from a long way off. We never had any doubts that this would actually be here. We did have doubts about when, but we also were able to talk to people. We've had Danny Ryan on the Bankless program like twice in 2 different capacities now. We had a bunch of just ETH 2.0 talk. We've been seeing what's been coming, right? So we've known.
Vitalik a couple weeks ago, he said, it's coming
in 2020,
the end of the year, right? Well, we've got 2 months left in 2020, of course.
Right. And so like some people are surprised, but like, I think the people that are paying attention the most are just like, oh yeah, like this is, it's very much later than we thought. And now it's here.
Okay. So Ethereum community is celebrating. I think one take on this is like, to me, you know, like being in the space, mainstream media is not going to pick this up. Like they have no idea what's going on. Crypto media, they'll pick it up, but there'll be a
generalized crypto media.
There'll be a slant from kind of the like, is this that big of a deal? I think this is the most significant event clearly to happen this year.
Right.
Maybe it's the most significant event in the last 5 years. Like this is a big deal, but
bigger than PayPal.
Yes, bigger than PayPal. Like you don't see it on, you're not going to see it on any of the mainstream, even if they weren't just covering politics 24/7 these days. This is below the radar. That shows how early we truly are. Like this is a major event in crypto and no one knows about it.
Right. Importantly, And I definitely do want to get to how and why this is so significant with Preston Van Loon here in a bit. But importantly, I would like to say that the 2017 bull market was pinned by ETH 2.0 being right around the corner. And it turned out that was we were disillusioned by that. That was a little bit of
3 years around the
thinking.
corner.
Yeah, but now now we actually have phase zero, right? We actually have staking. Staking was a huge bullish undercurrent for the last bull run, and now it's actually here, or at least it will be here on December 1st.
All right. So are we just going to say, David, like ETH at a price of $400 per ETH is just stupid, silly, hilarious?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
so like the market responded by going from $380 ETH to like $400 ETH. What should be priced in right now is ROI from staking Ether lockup from staking Ether, and also I think perhaps even most bullishly, complete reduction of execution risk for Ethereum 2.0 as a whole. And I made a graphic in a previous Market Monday that talked about the evolution of Ethereum 2.0 and how people think that it's like, okay, first we do phase 0, then we do phase 1, then we do phase 2. And we're not even at phase 0 yet, so phase 2 is a long way off. In reality, phase 0, 1, and 2 have all been working in parallel, and the teams themselves have been working in parallel, learning how to work with each other. The progress, I think, is going to compound. So it's not going to be another 3 years between phase 0 and phase 1. I think it could be, and Preston in this episode talks about his timeline predictions about where phase 1 is. I think there's overall going to be compounding progress on these fronts.
That is the David Hoffman ETH Bull that I know coming out once again. Good to see you.
I do agree with you that $400 ETH is hilarious.
Right. I mean, so if you're looking for like, what's the alpha? What's the alpha in today's alpha league? It's ETH.
Yeah.
The price of ETH is the alpha, guys. Mm-hmm. That's the alpha. And we could talk about staking, what the returns are, but I feel like in general, I don't think ETH as an asset and the execution risk diminishment that you were talking about is appreciated in the mainstream, of course, but let alone that, the crypto markets. Mm-hmm. So we will see how that feeds into price in the coming days. But can we talk about like what folks should do? So what the announcement actually means is that there is now a deposit contract for your ETH, right? Mm-hmm. You shouldn't just send ETH to that deposit contract. Right. You have to set up a validator and go through the steps. Mm-hmm. You know, one way to do that is to look at some of the guides that we've put together on Bankless about doing this in testnet. But there are some, like, you don't just get free money like in a yield farm. There's some responsibility that goes with it. This is not a yield farm. This is not a yield farm. This is the yield farm of all yield farms. And it takes some work. So you got to get your hardware together. You have to understand a little bit about how the software works. You have to secure your private keys. There are some steps to this, but let's talk about that date of December 1st. So in the intro earlier, you were talking, it looks like December 1st, but you didn't say it's absolutely going to be December 1st. Why did you hedge a little bit on that?
Right. So there is a window of opportunity for many people to deposit 32 ETH or more into the depositcontract.eth address. But we want a sufficient time for people to do that, right? And this is a big deal. Like this isn't some like random, proof of stake chain that, got spun up and doesn't really do much other than that. This is Ethereum, and this is also Ethereum 2.0. So we're going real slow here. And so we're going to have a nice long window for people to deposit 32 ETH in order to reach a minimum amount of Ether required. Like we need some sort of like consensus as to like, yes, we're ready to start Ethereum 2.0. And we are signaling that consensus by having roughly 500,000 Ether deposited into the staking contract. So we're taking our time to get to there. We have almost a full month of November to get to that point. And if on December 1st, we do cross that threshold of 500,000 Ether, then we can have the security needed to get the Ethereum 2.0 phase 0 chain up and running. If we don't hit that threshold by that time, it gets kicked out until we do hit that threshold. So we have infinite amounts of time to get to that threshold, but we aren't starting until we do get to that threshold. And then if that threshold is met at December 1st or later, the phase 0 of Ethereum will start 7 days after that threshold is met. right? And so that is what we can expect. That is something I think we will be frequently talking about on the Bankless podcast, on the Bankless YouTube. So, prepare for tweets and information as we watch this bar march forward into completion.
David, probability that it doesn't hit 524,000 some odd ETH before the date required to launch this December 1st. What's the probability on that?
15%.
15%. Interesting. Okay. I hope you are, you're
85% likelihood that we get there before the December 1st date.
I hope your calculations are better than Nate Silver, my friend.
Hey, my Bankless predictions have been pretty local to the actual answer, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Not bad. Yeah, I would. You know what? I'm gonna raise yours. I think it's a 95% chance.
95.
I think. Yep. I think it's absolutely. It won't take much. But let's talk about.
I wonder if there's going to be a prediction market.
Well, I'm sure there will be. Absolutely. Let's talk about why you would stake though at this stage, right? So again, this is not for everybody. We talk about that often, right? This is more risky in some ways than some of the DeFi yield farms that you might be used to in the DeFi summer. In one way particular, is because once you push ETH into this contract, it's a one-way ticket. The ETH doesn't come back. And so there's opportunity cost for your ETH if you're doing this. Like you can't do other things with it in DeFi. It's over on the other side. It's in the ETH too, but there's also rewards. So why are people doing this? What are the rewards, David?
So one of the reasons why the DeFi summer 2020 yield farming mania was so hype was because of the APY, the yearly earnings rewards that you could get on your assets. Yeah. And sadly, Ether was kind of left on the sideline with that, right? Like the only really way to get yield on your Ether was through the Y vaults on YEARN, where people would put their Ether and then they would use and they would put their Ether into MakerDAO to draw DAI, because it's the DAI that got the yield, not the Ether, but Ether, you could make DAI with it. So by proxy, you could get yield on your Ether.
Right.
There's nothing native about Ether that allows you to get yield. Like borrowing and lending rates for Ether are low. And what this really gets me excited for, and why I'm going to be participating in this phase 0 launch, is because this is the first native yield to Ether. And the best thing about Ethereum is that it promises, it guarantees maximum assurances to give you this yield, right? There's Ether denominated yield on your Ether, right? And so if you are an Ether maxi, this is a perfect product for you. If you believe in the upside of Ether, you don't have to sell your Ether to get yield in something else. You can keep your Ether and get Ether denominated yield on your Ether. So if you're bullish on Ether, this is a perfect thing for you to do while you are also serving the Ethereum 2.0 network.
In our upcoming conversation with Preston, we talk about exact amounts. It really depends on how many other people stake alongside of you. So it could be as high as 20%, but that could also drop as low as, 6, 4%, that type of range. Another reason that I want to stake at the early stage is just to be a part of this launch, to be honest.
Be part of the cool kids.
So look, Dave and I were just talking about how risky it is. It is risky. So me personally, I am absolutely not going to stake all of my ETH. That would be imprudent at this stage. How much? You don't have to tell me specifically, David.
I think I'm going to do 32. I'm just going to do one validator. I just want to be there.
So that's what we're talking about, guys. So don't let our enthusiasm or the enthusiasm of the community spill over into thinking that this is the best, most bulletproof investment opportunity that you've ever heard, because not necessarily.
It's not
It's risk reward, right? Yeah. Exactly.
This is not a 10,000 APY yield farm. The whole point of proof of stake and Ethereum 2.0 is slow, methodical, dependable gains, similar to a bond market, but a bond market under a hard asset. That's exactly
it. It's a bond market under a hard asset. It's like a T-bill. You don't you're not gambling. You buy a Tesla if you want to gamble. You don't buy T-bills. This is in the future. It will be more like that. But right now it's offering high return because it's a T-bill of a national economy that is just getting started. So an emerging nation that has no history. That's what you're doing essentially here.
That's exactly right. Like the upside, the financial upside of Ether is still going to be of capital appreciation of Ether, the asset, not the APY of staking. But the APY is just this nice cherry on top. If you know what you're doing, you're prepared to stake, you're prepared to run a node, and you're ready to move your ETH over.
Yes. So like to make that clear, I think you were asked on Twitter, someone was like, oh, how could how can I take advantage of the staking opportunity? It's like, you buy ETH.
Yeah,
you don't necessarily have to buy. You don't have to stake. You don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You could just buy ETH in this. Like that's part of the alpha leak.
Upside still.
Look, man, this is also a great excuse to buy some cool hardware. I think because I know you used to mine right from your house.
I have actually 4 miners in my apartment right now. I'm actually going to be mining on ETH1 and staking on ETH2 in the same household.
Wow. Well, fire them up, right? So. And, you can run a surprising amount of ETH validators on one consumer grade hardware device. So that's a cool opportunity too. And then lastly, I would say it's just like, it's your patriotic duty. If you were here at the very inception, you're listening to this show, so you're here, like, why not get involved, right? Yeah. Why not serve the community a little bit and be part of what we're doing here? Is we're launching the world's first decentralized economic network for open finance that could serve as a global permissionless banking system for the entire world, right? And
your kids are going to ask you, Dad, Mom, where were you when Phase 0 went live? Yes. What were you sitting on your hands watching while everyone else was staking, or are you gonna do it? You're gonna tell your kids that you staked on day one. I'm staking day one.
Yep. That's going to be my answer. So do this stuff for posterity too. All right. There's some criticism.
If you are looking for a mobile wallet to hold and access your crypto, you need to go to argent.xyz and download their smart contract wallet app right onto your Android or iOS device. Argent is the most secure way to hold money on your device while still being able to access DeFi services that we all know and love on Ethereum. Through Argent, you have one-tap access to the beloved DeFi apps like Compound, Uniswap, Aave, and you can even invest directly into some yield-generating assets right from your Argent wallet. Crucial to maintaining security over your assets is Argent's Guardian service, which allows you to use a friend to make sure that you can always restore access to your funds in case you were to ever lose your phone or for your device to break. You can also use a local hardware wallet to ensure that you can always restore access to your funds yourself. One of Argent's newest features is their ability to route trades through 10 decentralized exchanges, including Uniswap and Kyber, to make sure that you are always getting the best trade on your assets. Similarly, pushing the fold on what we can do in Ethereum and DeFi, Argent has replicated some of the legacy financial services that you would expect from your bank, but put it directly into the hands of the user, such as send limits and whitelisted accounts, ensuring that if anyone were to be able to access your funds in your Argent wallet, they could only send up to a certain amount and only be able to send them to approved addresses, which is creating one of the most safe environments to hold your assets in, which is why people have put millions and millions of dollars into the Argent wallet that they use on their device. In order to see the Argent wallet in action, go to argent.link/bankless and download the Argent wallet on iOS or Android today. We're also brought to you by Monolith. Monolith is your cool new DeFi account, your DeFi savings account, your DeFi checking account. Except the cool thing about the Monolith DeFi account is that it gets software updates, right? You actually get to increase the usefulness of this over time. So here are some of the features. Monolith is a smart contract wallet with a lot of the features that you would expect if you've come to know DeFi and what it is. You can add money to it. You can put that money to work in Compound and accessing yield. But you can also swap through Uniswap. What was cool with Monolith is that they will send you a very sexy Monolith Visa card that connects to your Monolith smart contract wallet on Ethereum. So it's a really awesome tool to live a bankless life with a savings account that gets software updates. So this is something that you're never gonna find out in the real world, but you can still do real world things with real money, like buy your groceries. So that's just fantastic. Coming soon to Monolith, actually already here to Monolith, is now you can buy DAI and get it sent to your wallet directly, right? So it's also being an on-ramp. So you don't have to go through your centralized exchange like Coinbase or Gemini or wherever. You can just go straight from your bank account right into your Monolith checking account smart contract wallet. So check them out at monolith.xyz. Man, Ryan, I'm just so excited to get the ball rolling on here. We are about to enter the golden age of Ethereum, it feels like. We've had a bunch of experimentation and innovation in DeFi, and now it's Ethereum, the main chain's turn. Like just along the lines of like rollups, does also Ethereum 2.0 and phase 0 bring its own innovations, which I'm really excited about. And it's just making me really bullish, dude.
Yeah,
it's really, I'm bullish.
I can tell. I can tell.
So many people have put so many hours of labor into Ethereum 2.0. So I think we want to talk about like, what does that actually turn into? And, you know, some people may consider this a controversial statement, but like when a bunch of very, very smart, dedicated people believe in something and pour an absolute magnitude of man hours into something, I expect that thing would be valuable, right? And this is something that I'm going to be looking to the secondary markets to really signal if that is a valid take or not. And this is why we think Ether is undervalued. And interestingly, Ryan, is that, you know, there's a bunch of conflating data here. Like we're also looking at the crypto markets during the US election.
Yes.
The SPX, the S&P 500 index is also moving bullishly upwards. But like we had this on November 3rd, election day, we had that what I was talking about earlier, which was the movement of the ENS domain, depositcontract.eth. A lot of people started to figure it out, and Ether price jumped from 380 to 400, right? And yep. Bitcoin price jumped from 13,700 to 14,000 right then and there. And that, to me, like crypto markets have actually been uncorrelated the last 2 days. And so to me, that signaled that Bitcoin price moved upwards on the rumor of phase 0.
So you think Bitcoin is maybe going to follow ETH a little bit, and showed some signs of that yesterday, right? Starting yesterday.
Yeah, showed some signs yesterday, and then I got into a debate with Nick Carter, and he was like, you know,
what did he say?
I said like, you know, the reason why Bitcoin is moving on to 1400 is because of Ethereum 2 deposit contract. And he goes like, why would that impact Bitcoin? And I said, well, I don't really know, but like, look at the charts. They're happening at the same time. And then this got repeated again today where first it was a rumor, and then it was the official ethereum.org site, and all the people who are working on Ethereum 2.0, like all said like, yeah, this looks legit. And then Ether price moved from 400, it went back down to 390, and then it moved up to like 410, 415. And then Bitcoin price blasted through 14K. It's at 14,200. And again, conflating variables, SPX is also mooning, but I think Bitcoin's mooning because of Ethereum, man. And it's always done this. It's always done this. Like the 2017 Bitcoin all-time high was the ICO mania on Ethereum. And Bitcoin moving past 10K was as a result of DeFi summer in Ethereum. And now Bitcoin moving through 14K happened when the Ethereum 2.0 staking contract got locked or got announced. And so like, I'm a fan of conspiracy theories, and my conspiracy theory is that Bitcoin moves when cool things happen on Ethereum.
Oh yeah. And I think that's like, for me, that's not a conspiracy theory. That's like what we see empirically, and those instances. Sometimes Bitcoin moves, lots of times Bitcoin moves and then ETH follows, but sometimes ETH moves and then Bitcoin follows. I think some people are unwilling to accept the latter or the ETH leading because they feel like it's the tail wagging the dog a little bit, right? And they're like, no, Bitcoin is the dog and Ether is the tail, and you follow me. Right. And I'm not sure that they're right about that.
I don't see the evidence for that.
Right, I know. But regardless, look, Bitcoin does well, ETH does well, ETH does well, Bitcoin does well.
This is true.
You should buy both. That's the final alpha leak right here.
Yeah, but you can't stake your Bitcoin, so.
You can't. That's David flipping ETH bull again. So, hey, man.
I've always been an ETH bull.
Excited. All right, dude. So what do we got next? So this is alpha leak. What can folks do now? What kind of resources are we going to provide for them? You want to start with the Rocket Pool resource that we have?
Yeah, so Rocket Pool is something that I have dear to my heart. And the reason why I say that is because Rocket Pool Of all the other projects on Ethereum, like yield farms, DeFi apps, whatever, Rocket Pool is a little different because it's related to the core infrastructure of the Ethereum blockchain. It doesn't actually have any code in the L1 itself. It's like not a natively built system, but it does operate impacting the actual fundamentals of the Ethereum blockchain, right? And what Rocket Pools are staking pools. You know, we have a theory that Ether is going to be really valuable one day, and that means 32 Ether to stake might be like out of reach for a large amount of people. And so Rocket Pool is a staking pool where people with less than 32 ETH can come together to stake on a single node. And this is really good for decentralization of Ethereum in two different ways. It decentralizes the nodes by incentivizing more total nodes, and it also decentralizes the set of possible staking individuals. So it really is increasing decentralization on two separate fronts in one product. There's a fantastic video with David Rugendijk, who did we were talking about at the end of the interview about how efficient we were with the interview. There's really good information in there. And so if you're looking for more information, there's going to be a link somewhere in this YouTube video in the corner here where you can click and it'll take you right there. Definitely some juicy info there.
Absolutely. So if you've heard everything we've talked about so far, you're still interested in staking, but you don't have 32 ETH, you want to stake less than 32, you don't want to run your own hardware. This is a decentralized way to start staking. Super cool. I'm not sure
on the flip side of things, however, if you are interested in running multiple nodes, you can receive your staked Ether and then a little bit of a dividend on top of that for allowing other people to stake their Ether on your nodes. And so you can actually make a little bit more money than just vanilla staking yourself.
Yep, pretty cool economics there, and they've been doing this for a long time. Two other resources that we're coming out with. So we've got a how to become a validator on the ETH2 testnet on Bankless. We will include a link to that. You can look at the testnet, but we are updating this for mainnet here shortly. So we'll have a mainnet version for you as well at some point. Subscribe to the program, you will receive that as well. Lastly, we are putting together a summary of an ETH2 economics report that Consensus is publishing. And we're going to have that for you probably Thursday, if not early next week.
Hot.
Yeah, it's going to be hot. We might talk about it on a Meet the Nation too. So anyway, lots of resources coming at you on the Bankless program that we will be providing. David, this has been Alpha Leak. We've been waiting for this specific Alpha Leak for years, a very long time. Super exciting, man. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah. Hey, Ryan, congratulations on making it all the way through the bear market into phase 0, right? We're finally here. Like we did it the days come. Yeah.
You too.
Cheers to everyone who went on the journey with us and really stuck it out during those, kind of dark times.
Well, right now it's even though we had DeFi summer, it's not many tourists in this space. It's all the people who've been here for the long run. And cheers. Bear markets are not fun. I think we're on the other side of that, and looking forward to staking with you guys alongside of you guys. Yeah. All right. Well, risks and disclaimers. Of course, ETH is risky. So is ETH staking. None of this was financial advice, guys. This is the Bankless journey. You know the drill. You could lose everything that you put in if you're putting it in ETH, if you're putting it in DeFi staking. So it's not for everyone, but we're glad you're with us on the journey. This has been our Alpha Leak ETH staking edition.